From the Grand Ballroom of the Four Seasons Hotel in Sydney, Australia, it's the 33rd Ethnic Business Awards.
For we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia Che bella cosa, n'aiutate sole, n'aria serena dopo una tempesta, quell'aria fresca tra le mille insagne. Che bella cosa n'aiunate sole, mamma tu sole,
Please welcome to the stage your host for this evening, multiple Walkley Award-winning author, journalist and broadcaster, Tracy Spicer AM.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honoured guests. You're all looking absolutely gorgeous tonight, and a very warm welcome to you at home as well. It's just lovely to see you all here, ready to share in 12 brilliant stories of business success. This is the 33rd Ethnic Business Awards to celebrate the accomplishments of entrepreneurs such as these, and what a privilege it is to welcome them into the EBA family, because it certainly is a family. Before we meet our finalists, I want to thank the people and the organisations who've helped make this evening possible. Our extremely generous sponsors. They are DAR Group, Ethan Indigenous, ABC Tissue Products, Arab Bank Australia, Living Gems Lifestyle Resorts, Divest Healthcare, International Livestock Export, Allspec, Boca, Carla Zampatti, Nexia Australia and Bruce Clay Australia. Phew, so many people supporting us. Thank you so much. Why don't we put our hands together for our sponsors? And thank you for your company as we celebrate the achievements of our finalists here tonight. Their stories are being televised, streamed and reported across Australia and around the world by our broadcast and principal media sponsor, SBS, our great Australian multicultural and multilingual broadcaster. National Indigenous Television Network, the Aurora Community Channel, the Australian Newspaper, Google, Chujung, the Sunrise Daily Newspaper, El Telegraph, 1688 Chinese Media Group, Neos Cosmos, Top Media Group and Media Today Group. A big round of applause for all of our sponsors. And as always, we are tremendously grateful to the many dignitaries who've joined us this evening. I'd like to extend a sincere welcome to the Honourable Tony Burke MP, Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations, Minister for the Arts and Leader of the House, who's here tonight representing the Prime Minister. Also welcome to their Honourables, Jason Clare, Minister for Education, Dan Tehan, Shadow Minister for Immigration and Citizenship, Michael Sukkar, Shadow Minister for Social Services, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, Housing and Homelessness. Julian Lesser, Shadow Attorney-General and Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians. Mark Buttigieg, Opposition Whip and Member of the New South Wales Legislative Council. And Tony Abbott, former Prime Minister and Member of the Ethnic Business Awards Board. A warm welcome also to their Excellencies, Dr. Ali M. Krishan, Ambassador for the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to Australia and New Zealand. Ms. Betty Pavelic, Ambassador of the Republic of Croatia, and Mr. Milad Rad, Ambassador of Lebanon. Also, Mr. Izzat Saleh Abdul Hadi, Ambassador and Head of the General Delegation of Palestine to Australia. Ms. Christine Elder, Consul General of the United States of America. Mr. Charbel Macaron, Consul General of Lebanon. Evika Glasnovic, Consul General of the Republic of Croatia, and Sanjay Mulukar, Consul of India. What a list we have there. It is no surprise to me that our guests this evening include distinguished representatives from right across the political spectrum and from right across the world. After all, this is a celebration of diversity. And increasingly, diversity is being recognised as one of the great drivers of Australian success. To quote the wonderful Joseph Asaf, diversity has been Australia's single most important catalyst for innovation and creativity in its social, artistic and economic development. We are truly a multicultural nation. That's one of our great strengths. And our best and brightest recognise that. So, of course, you're all here tonight. The businesses we're celebrating are certainly diverse. Our finalists specialise in childcare, mechanics, horticulture, construction and development, convenience shopping, medical services, earth moving and conservation, education, accounting and IT. They've been selected from hundreds of nominations worldwide and have come here from all over the world and from a whole range of First Nations countries as well. We have Wadjuri, Kalkadoon, Gamilaroi and Wheelone finalists, along with others from India, Vietnam, the US, Taiwan and Lebanon, now variously hailing from New South Wales, Victoria, the ACT, South Australia, Queensland and Western Australia. But wherever they come from, all of these entrepreneurs are now Australian and they have incredible stories to tell. We've been telling these stories now for more than 3 decades. And what better way to begin tonight than to take a look at some of those remarkable shared evenings.
The Ethnic Business Awards, coming of age tonight, have long been a feature of our splendid multicultural landscape. They pay tribute to the extraordinary achievement and contribution of people born on shores other than our own.
Post-war migration began as our nation's greatest experiment, and it has become our nation's greatest success. Because as migrants, we accepted that in a new land, we shouldn't only take, but give as well. And yes, it's worked. Immigration has worked.
Diversity creates unity. That unity, born of diversity, creates opportunity. Multiculturalism is Australia's competitive advantage in the global marketplace.
As Australians, we pride ourselves on our ethnic diversity, our innovation, our entrepreneurship, and of course, excellence. And it's these very qualities that are celebrated tonight through the Ethnic Business Awards.
For those of you who are here tonight as finalists in these Ethnic Business Awards, it is a great thing that you are here. You are our automatic bridge to the world. And so much that we do in commerce, in export, in import, in trade and investment. You form such natural, wonderful, diverse, fluent, culturally sensitive human bridges to the rest of the world that you are for us an enormous national strength.
It's not possible to think of the economic growth of Australia over the last 30 or 40 years without thinking of the massive contribution that have been made by the group loosely called Ethnic Australians to the development of our country.
We're taking the chance to highlight the tremendous achievements and efforts of some Australians who've come to this country, have not started with the natural advantage of knowing it, and have done things that are special, which we can all identify with and which we can all celebrate. And that's really, I think, what the Ethnic Business Awards are about.
I am never prouder of Australia than on a night like tonight, which exemplifies everything that is good about our country. The migrant story lends a heroic dimension to our national life. That's what we celebrate, and that is at the heart of the Australian story.
This country is an immigration success story without parallel, and we should be enormously proud of what we have all achieved. It's also wonderful to see that the Ethnic Business Awards have embraced our first Australians. There is a spirit of entrepreneurship sweeping across so many Indigenous communities, and it's fantastic to know that that's being recognised. The story of this country is one of great optimism, overcoming all challenges. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we're celebrating tonight.
Gee, what terrific memories there are there. And I don't know about you, but I got quite emotional watching that clip. Really tremendous memories. And tonight, as we prepare to create a whole lot more memories, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you a man who's not only a founder of these awards, but who continues to be a major sponsor as well. An immigrant from Lebanon and a business achiever in his own right, Joseph Asaf is a proud Australian. A pioneer of multicultural marketing in this country, he's a published author whose best-selling book, In Someone Else's Shoes, has become a multicultural handbook for political, business, religious and social leaders. 33 years ago, Joseph's own business success inspired a new dream, one of recognising other migrant business people and celebrating their achievements. And now, his office, his family and a whole dedicated team work year-round to bring us this marvellous event. A recipient of the Order of Australia and the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Migration Council of Australia, he's served as a member of the C20 Steering Committee for the G20, the Australian Centre on China in the World, and the Council of Australian Arab Relations. He's also served on numerous boards, councils and committees. Would you please join me in welcoming to the stage the chairman of the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation, the very delightful and the very busy Mr. Joseph Asaf.
Thank you, Tracy, and good evening to you all for joining us here tonight at this wonderful event. Allow me to extend a warm welcome to the members of DAR Group, our newest sponsor, and fittingly, a company with a diverse and global presence. Welcome to all the dignitaries here tonight, ambassadors, ministers, shadow ministers, federal and state members of parliament, consul generals, consuls, esteemed judges, valued sponsors, EBA board members, media partners, and most importantly, our fantastic finalists. We come here tonight to celebrate more than just business success, more than triumphs over adversity, more than courage and resilience and innovation and imagination. We come to celebrate our differences. As I said in my book, we would be naive indeed to believe that peace and harmony can be obtained by removing cultural differences or by limiting diversity. Our differences are what bind us together and make us strong. More and more, Australia is coming to realize that diversity is one of its most powerful engines, a driver of our success in business, of course, but more broadly, a driver of our continued success as a nation. We need differences in order to create harmony. We need harmony in order to create a sense of peace, security, and optimism. In fact, there is no harmony without differences. By definition, harmony is the coordination of differences. And the opposite of harmony is monotony, which is the absence of differences. A single note is being bland. A complex chord is exciting, vibrant, alive. But as any composer will tell you, harmony is a challenge. And in bringing together many notes, there is the potential discord. We are all affected today by a jangle of discord from the other side of the world. Fundamental, that discord has been generated by a failure to honor and embrace our differences, different languages, religion, aspiration, political ideologies. When that happens, instead of peace and harmony, we have the discord of war. And because discord so often louder, more jarring, more insistent than harmony, it has the potential to become a pandemic all of its own, drowning out all our harmonies as it resonates across the world. So how should we respond to such an insistent discord? By raising our voices even louder in harmony, by embracing the many notes and tones and complexities that are represented in this room here tonight, and by retelling the stories of the 22,000 businesses nominated for the EBA over the last 33 years. And also by celebrating all the other many stories of multicultural success that continue to make such an important contribution to this great nation of ours. The Australian story must, even more, be one of diversity and inclusiveness. Our celebration of that diversity was incomplete without the original culture of the land, the culture of the first Australian. So, in 2010, we introduced an award to recognize excellence in Indigenous business. This award has completed a circle, social, economic, and cultural. I'm proud to say that it has already been a huge success, and I firmly believe it has succeeded because it is an inclusive award. It is an integral part of the weave and weft of what we are doing here. It is another celebration of being Australian, of striving, achieving, contributing, mentoring, and participating. First Nations Australian and migrants, refugees and business migrants, early settlers and the new settlers, men and women, English speakers and non-English speakers, people of all colors, people of all faiths and creeds and political persuasion. They all share the roads, all pay taxes, all support each other's network, and all call Australia home. You will meet many role models here tonight, in every category. You will hear many wonderful and inspiring stories, and I'm proud that a fully comprehensive tale of endeavor and success, a tale that celebrates each and every one of us as equals in business and in life. I congratulate all our finalists here tonight. They are all winners, and so are all those nominees out there who continue to add their voices to the harmony. Let us all sing louder. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And as you are all aware, we were supposed to have the Prime Minister, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, joining us this evening. However, he unfortunately finds himself in isolation due to getting COVID. While we wish him a speedy recovery, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a similar long-time friend and a stalwart supporter of the Ethnic Business Awards, displaying the very same qualities of resilience and perseverance shared by Mr. Anthony Albanese and all our nominees representing the Prime Minister of Australia. Please join me in welcoming the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations, Minister for the Arts and Leader of the House, the Honourable Tony Burke.
Well, as Jason Clare famously said during the election campaign, the boss has got the bug, so you've got me. Thank you so much, Joseph, for the kind invitation, and thank you to everybody who's here. I'm very pleased to be joining you on the Gadigal land of the Eora Nation. Pay my respects to elders past and present, and pay particular respect to all my parliamentary colleagues who are here tonight, and particular respect to all the First Nations people from around Australia who are here tonight. I've been coming, I think, for close on 20 years to these events, and there have been two stalwarts who I don't think there's ever been one in that time, regardless of the office that they held, who have missed. And they're both Anthony Albanese and Tony Abbott. And both of them have been in top job, different job, didn't matter what job they had. They've always made sure that they were here. And that's in part because of a genuine friendship that a lot of us have with both Joseph and Angela. But it's also because these awards hold a very special place in who we are as Australians. It's getting better, but for too long, of the different sorts of Australian stories, only a particular sort of Australian story was told and celebrated. I'm very conscious that today is the 30th anniversary of Paul Keating delivering the Redfern speech, where Paul Keating made very clear that we should not be afraid to know our history. We should not be afraid to tell the truth about our history, and we should use that as a pathway for moving forward together as a nation. There are effectively two sorts of Australian stories. There are Australian stories that hold their basis on this continent all the way back to the first sunrise. And there are Australian stories that begin with immigration. Every one of us, as we go through our family history, has one or both of those sorts of stories in defining who we are. Tonight's awards are not to represent diversity in the sense of minority groups within Australia. Tonight is about celebrating the fact that without the full breadth of those Australian stories, our nation is incomprehensible. And for each of yourselves, whether a First Nations business or whether you're in the small or medium to large business categories tonight, we have people with their backgrounds going back to 40 different nations among the nominees tonight. We have people whose stories start either here, back to the first sunrise, or whose stories involve a heritage that goes way back beyond when they first came here. But from the moment you came here, your story became part of the Australian story. From the moment you made that decision, and I know for so many, and I love, as we go through the stories tonight, the commonalities we hear. And so many of them are common with the stories that you'll find in Joseph Assop's book, In Someone Else's Shoes, where you'll find the story of people saying, I came and I only had one suitcase, but it was a suitcase full of dreams. Of people in different ways starting their own business because the employment circumstance in Australia was not entirely fair for them. And then going off, starting their own business, employing people, often ultimately becoming competitors to the exact businesses that made the big mistake of not employing them in the first place. Whether you have started that business as a First Business Nations owner, or whether you've started in what's titled tonight as the ethnic business categories, when you made the decision to start, you made a decision very much, I suspect, about yourself and your family. You came here, and often people, when they arrive, had the intention that they wouldn't stay, but fell in love, either with someone who became a life partner or just fell in love with the place itself. But in starting that business, it might be for your family, for those you love, or just to make a living. And then it grows and it becomes the loyalty to the customers, to the contractors, the loyalty to your own staff. But what tonight acknowledges, and for every nominee, the reason so many of us from Parliament, past and present, keep coming back, is because your story isn't just important for the people you think about every day in your business. Your story is important for Australia. Your story, your business, your work, your commitment, your values, your heritage is an essential part of knowing who we are as a nation. The crackle of your energy makes its way through every part of our society. We are not tonight simply celebrating individuals. We're celebrating what your efforts, expertise, commitment mean. As a nation, it's not like we owe you because we're part of you. It's not like You owe the country. We all owe each other. We're all part of that. And so tonight, when we celebrate you, we celebrate the best of modern Australia. And I can guarantee it took a global pandemic to stop Prime Minister Anthony Albanese from being here tonight. I suspect this will be the last time you get me as the stand-in. And so can I pass on from the Prime Minister his deepest respect for what you do, his deepest congratulations for what you are being honoured with tonight, and his deepest hope, because we know that it's your continued efforts that bind the future of our country.
Thank you so much for those stirring words, the Honourable Tony Burke, and thank you to Joseph Asaf. Combining a lot of those wonderful themes there, we come to truth-telling and how important it is to creating a harmonious future. And storytelling, which is what we're all about here tonight. So, we're about to share the stories with you. But first, I'd like you to meet our judges. Now, every year they use their considerable skills to assess hundreds of nominations, and this year is no exception. Once again, Adam Goodes, Eve Crestani and Alan Gyngell AO have shared the task with General the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove. Now, unfortunately, Sir Peter is unable to be with us tonight, but he has sent this brief message.
G'day, it's Peter Cosgrove here, and first and foremost, apologies that Lynn and I aren't with you tonight. We can't avoid another commitment, but we would so much like to have been here for the unveiling of the 2022 EBA awardees. You gave us the most difficult choices. I'm thrilled to be a judge. It's one of the great things after my retirement as Governor-General that I find I can be part of a precious process within the community. Since 1988, these Ethnic Business Awards, under the stewardship of Joe Asaf, that magnificent entrepreneur who conceived of this idea, well, it's a way of finding and bringing to the greater Australian community and to the world the endeavours of these fantastic ethnic and Indigenous businessmen and women as they make their place in our economy. And they do it with great energy and goodwill and indeed always commitment to their community. That's one of the great qualities of these awards. The judges, of whom I am now a very privileged part, had a very difficult job this year. And that is a dilemma, but it's a wonderful dilemma. I'm looking forward to the 2023 awards, to be part of the judging panel again. And I say to all those who are entrants this year, especially the awardees, congratulations.
Doesn't he have wonderful energy? Our deep thanks to Sir Peter. And also thanks to our other judges, first of all, Eve Crestani. Now, Eve's consulting career has been focused on providing strategic advice and transformation implementation to organisations like KPMG, ING, the ASX, HK Securities Institute and Fairfax Interactive. She's served on countless boards, listed, unlisted and mutual, global and domestic. Eve sits on the ASX Disciplinary Tribunal and has been a Fellow of the AICD since its inception. Her pro bono activities include being a Director of Soils for Life. On top of all that, Eve's been a member of our judging panel since 1999, which is absolutely wonderful. How about a round of applause for Eve? Another long-time supporter of the Ethnic Business Awards is Mr Alan Gyngell AO. Alan is National President of the Australian Institute of International Affairs, an honorary professor in the ANU's College of Asia and the Pacific, and a member of the board of China Matters. He's held appointments as Director General of the Office of National Assessments, Executive Director of the Lowy Institute, and as Foreign Policy Advisor in the Office of Prime Minister Paul Keating. An office in the Order of Australia, Alan has written and spoken widely about Australian foreign and security policy and economic relations with Asia. Round of applause for Alan Ginchel. Now, unfortunately, another of our judges is unable to be with us tonight. From the Adnyamatha and Narungga Nations, sporting legend, advocate in the fight against racism and former Australian of the Year, Mr Adam Goode's sporting reputation is equalled by that of his leadership within the Indigenous community and his work towards achieving reconciliation. The Goodes O'Loughlin Foundation focuses on education for Indigenous children. He's also held advisory roles on the National Indigenous Council and Supply Nation. Today, Goodes is CEO of the Indigenous Defence and Infrastructure Consortium, a director of the Australian Literacy and Numeracy Foundation, and STAND, Support Through Natural Disasters. Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Adam Goodes and indeed all of our judges. Tom Geraghty and his Worldwide Pictures team have travelled all over Australia to get to know our finalists and bring their stories to you. These are accounts of struggle, survival, determination, resilience, and ultimately success. They're also about making a difference and giving back. And so, here we go, friends. We begin with our first category, Excellence in Indigenous Business. Now, this award was created in 2010 to acknowledge and celebrate the economic, social and cultural contributions that Australia's traditional owners make to the nation. And as with all the different categories this evening, we bring their stories to you in no particular order. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the first of our 4 finalists in this category, Peter Ether and Ether Group. Now, Peter's father, Albert, was a Kalkadoon man, stolen in the 1930s and removed from his family and culture in Mount Isa. Now based in Western Sydney, Ether Group has become a place of belonging and growth, creating significant opportunities to care for country and community. EG's specialty is preventing natural materials excavated during building projects from going into landfill, creating opportunities to repurpose resources back into the industry. Ether Group is a place for any underdog to belong, to be respected, and to be given a go.
My name is Peter Ether. My country is Kalkadoon, Mount Isa, and the company is Ether Group. We started the company in 2010, and we do excavation, carting materials, processing, crushing, screening. Basically, we've got trucks and earth-moving equipment. They're the tools of the trade, but it's not what we do. What we've been very passionate about in this business has been built on from the moment we started, was finding solutions and caring for country. And what is taken out of the earth or what is used can be recycled, and it's finding other purposes. So, you know, our business has been built on finding reuses for materials. And my dad was an operator, so, you know, he drove trucks and got into the earth moving game. And, you know, I was very proud, of him. When I was working alongside with my dad, I remember driving to work with him. We were working at Penrith Lakes together, and, you know, he had this little old Navara ute and no power steering and no aircon. It was shit house. But yeah, look, I used to look across at him, and I remember one morning I looked at him and I said, "Mate, Dad, we're better than this." And, you know, I had that spark and that fire in the belly that I wanted better for him. I wanted better for my family. And unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years after that. You know, my dad had a massive heart attack, which sent me on more of a mission to create something after him. I was supervising a project, and I felt, there wasn't enough emphasis put on the repurposing of the materials. So I started on that little mission myself, and when an opportunity came up to supply trucks, we had a $10,000 credit card, We borrowed some money and bought an old truck, and then I went and got a couple of contractors to run with that truck, and then a couple more and a couple more and a couple more. And then I picked up a site at the Brickworks, and yeah, that sort of got some momentum. You know, it was a big jump, but with a good wife, and you know, she certainly helped me with that confidence to bring that mongrel back out of me that she knew was in. We've grown to 16 trucks and 25 bits of plant, and we're cracking 20 million turnover. So when we started, it was me and my sister. Currently now we've got 40 staff. Well, I've got to give it to the team, and I say that, you know, the support from the team, which is the family, to help me get to where I am so I can do what I can do to create opportunities for our family and, you know, our employees. They become family. Yeah, I've got to give credit back to them. Definitely can see a massive growth spurt over the next 5 years. About 3 months ago, there was an opportunity come up to tender for Nepean Business Park, which is at Penrith Lakes, my old stomping ground, and we won. We won the project. But for me to go back out there and be where it all started, but as our own business, I'm very proud. The project is roughly going to go for about 8 years, and the outcomes I want to achieve with that site is creating local jobs for local mobs, so pathways for young Indigenous females, young Indigenous males. We've already started, so we've already put on 12. But for us to play a part in that as Ether Group, I'm very proud.
What a character, what a story. The old Navara ute, that was fabulous. Finding solutions in caring for country. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the very proud Peter Ether. Congratulations, Peter, and thank you for sharing that beautiful story about your father, and a hug! So good! Oh, what a magnificent moment. And now, from Speaking in Colour, an equally proud Gamilaroi and Wheel One woman from Newcastle, New South Wales, who participates as an active member of the Awakabal community. Cherie Johnson is a highly regarded lecturer in Aboriginal culture and education and has created an organisation that's truly making a difference through the delivery of cultural training and experience to the corporate, business and education sectors. This is Cherie Johnson of Speaking in Colour.
My name is Cherie Johnson. Our company is called Speaking in Colour, and we provide services right from the classroom through to the boardroom. I'm a proud descendant of the Gomeroi and Wailwan people from northwest New South Wales, and proudly live on the Wabkal country here in Newcastle and have for the last 4 generations. The company started with the vision to support educators, providing resources that helped promote Aboriginal people and culture in science and geography and English and art and all of those subject areas. Since then, we've actually grown quite rapidly. We got asked to do more and more work in the corporate space to make it culturally safe for their Aboriginal clients, but also their Aboriginal staff. For me, growing up as an Aboriginal person, it was not popular. Mum was removed from around here, but moved back here when I was, I think, about 4. So I've always lived in the Newcastle Lake Macquarie area. This is very much my community. I never would have thought growing up that I would attend university, let alone teach at it, or even be considered to be a PhD candidate. And I attribute it to my nan. She was an entrepreneur. She was always kept at a disadvantage because, you know, as an Aboriginal woman, she wasn't able to hold property on her own. And it was actually on a cultural camp when I was almost 16 that an auntie from mid-north coast actually taught me how to make stringy bark and how to make dilly bags. Since then, I've been a weaver. It was during delivering all this professional development for teachers and writing this content, a number of my friends who are in the public sector said to me, why are you providing professional development for corporates? If you can wrangle and teach children in the high school and you can engage disengaged teachers, I'm pretty sure you can engage disengaged corporates. And I thought, how do we bring cultural education to them? Well, again, we need to make it fun. We need to make it interactive, and we need to make it informative so people are empowered in the workplace to be agents for change. Today, we're a team of 8 with about 9 contractors. We do a lot of research now for the Department of Education, and we keep getting opportunities to tender for large bodies of work. This year, we were at Maitland Regional Art Gallery. We had 1,200 youth a part of that program, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal, and we had 135 elders and community. All of these people learning cultural practice for the first time, making beautiful large-scale artworks which were publicly exhibited. One of the product lines that we have is actually our online shop. We're supporting 13 micro businesses, so women that, most of them I've actually taught how to weave and help them establish their own business, and it's bringing back a cultural pride to our women that's been lost for quite a while. Aboriginal people are very good innovators, are brilliant entrepreneurs. It's what we do. And now that I've understood the parallel of teaching people to encourage people, you just upscale that. We've heard Aboriginal kids saying that they're identifying as Aboriginal for the first time. You're hearing teachers saying things like, because we did this program, we did the professional development attached to it, I'm now implementing Aboriginal perspectives in 4 programs where I didn't before. I have no idea where Speaking Colour is going to be even in 5 years' time. We are growing at such a rapid pace. For 3 years, I didn't take a salary. We just reinvested all that money. Since we became a company, we doubled 5 years in a row, and last year still grew 15%. The disparity between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people is still quite wide. Our numbers are actually getting worse, not better. We have a massive opportunity when it comes to Indigenous business, and we want to be a part of that change to help motivate and create allies, and that's what we need to be able to do to effectively make change in this country.
An extraordinary multifaceted business, and doesn't Cherie articulate it beautifully, making cultural education fun, interactive and informative. Congratulations, Cherie Johnson. Our next nominee is a returning finalist from New South Wales. This is BlackRock Industries' second nomination. Stephen Fordham's company offers a diverse range of industrial services and believes not in finding the best employees, but creating them. With an extensive training and social justice program, BlackRock works to offer pathways for employment not only to the local community, but also to incarcerated men. Let's take a look at Stephen Fordham's story.
My name's Stephen Fordham. I'm a Camillo man born in Gunnedah, and I'm the Managing Director of BlackRock Industries. BlackRock runs a range of different services. We've got BlackRock traditionally does earthworks, construction, general maintenance, building projects, cleaning contracts. We've got Supply Solutions Group, so we do a lot of different retail through heavy industrial groups from construction and mining services. Dream Path Recruitment, which is a labour hire arm that's expanded across the whole entire country, and it focuses on getting Indigenous youth and people into opportunities. On top of that, we've also got Blackroo. Blackroo is a charity division in which we've set up with our organisation that puts a large amount of thought and different initiatives back into the community to help people get a better start. I started the company with $20,000 in an old tipper truck. I took 20 grand out of my account, walked up to my business partner and I said, I've got a dream of something I want to create, and he threw a little bit of money in and we kicked BlackRock off. Starting out being an Indigenous person in the community and trying to boost opportunities, we copped a lot of things through racism. I know one of the crib rooms we actually first started out, it actually had a pile of bananas in there that said Happy Centrelink Day Monkeys. Our company has expanded and it is always diversifying. One thing through COVID-19, we actually in the first 2 weeks manufactured over $200,000 in hand sanitizer. And we actually opened a drive-through rapid antigen testing clinic. So we were actually the first in the country. We set it up. We could do up to 1,000 miners a day, and we could help make the community a safer place. So our construction division came out of the blue, but we're now actually gone from being a tier 2 to a tier 1. We've got a large construction project at the moment where we've got an old retirement home we're converting into a boarding house. It's going to provide multiple jobs on even the on-flow when it's created. We actually are now looking at a new branch of our organisation to take over the hospitality side of running this facility. So they're the kind of things that we look outside the box for our clientele and find that pathway forward. We started the Second Chance for Change program in 2016. We met with the local prison and they said, look, we've got a candidate. He's been out of jail for 6 months. So we met this candidate and within 4 weeks working for us, I was driving down the main street on a Sunday, seen this guy walk in orange work shirt, blue jeans, work boots, glove clip hanging on the side. And I said, why are you wearing your work uniform on a Sunday? And he went really quiet and he said, when I walk into a shop, he said, people don't follow me around anymore. He said, old people don't hold their handbags. He said, they look at me and smile. He said, I feel like I've got a purpose in life. And that's where we kicked the Second Chance for Change program off. So to date, we've employed over 116 men throughout our local prisons and prisons around the state. So we employ these guys while they're incarcerated. They get to come out, work for the same wages as everyone else, get a chance to go forward and actually try and help drop that recidivism rate because it's just too high. Our company's expanded our numbers across the board, but our goal is within the next 2 years to be around 2,000 people employed across the board, and within the next 5 to 6 to 10 years, we want to be looking at over 10 to 20,000 employees. Being re-nominated for the award is it's an amazing experience to actually see some of our fellow Australians that have actually come from other countries with nothing, a few dollars in their pocket and be able to actually start and create a company. It's very humbling and just an overwhelming emotional night. We started BlackRock Industries and it's something that I don't normally bring up too often, but I was actually from a bout of depression. I actually decided to take my own life. I managed to get an opportunity with Mount Pleasant, an amazing mining organisation in the Hunter. They took us on, gave us our first opportunity, and that's all I ever needed is that opportunity. And over the 5 years, I've expanded out of businesses now across the country. I'm only 31 years old, but I believe in what we're trying to do. I think it is the new pathway forward, and I've always said, I got that opportunity, and that saved my life. But I think that's all I want to give. I want to give people that opportunity to progress, and that's what it's all about.
What a lovely fella. Thank you, Stephen, for being so candid about your mental health challenges and turning that into something that can help others. Really is tremendous. Stephen Fordham. And now, for our final nominee in this category. From Western Australia, Robbie Mallard and the company Mallard Contracting. Now, this business covers all aspects of construction for both industry and government sectors through a range of contracting models, from project feasibility studies to design, engineering, execution and approvals. Robbie's focus is on improving the lives of as many Aboriginal people as he can through his business operations by establishing positive role models and creating future leaders in the community environment. Let's take a look at Mallard Contracting.
My name's Robbie Mallard. My company name is Mallard Contracting. I'm a Wadjuri Nunda man. I'm a Yamatji man from the Midwest Gascoyne. Mallard Contracting is a construction company, but also we do civil stuff too. We do plumbing, electrical, painting, refrigeration, anything in the construction side. We can do refurbs on buildings, houses, install new sheds. We actually set up whole mine camps from the ground up to the end product. A lot of racism in my life growing up, more about your colour of your skin really, so I got picked on both sides of the fence. Those days you got called all these names. I think it made me who I am today. I got no regrets of how I got brought up. We didn't think anything was different. You know, maybe on the clothesline you might have clothes hanging up and we might have a kangaroo hanging on the clothesline. I won a job in Jigalong. I was out there working in one of the communities, Kinnawannergy it was. I was checking out the photos and this lady said to me, oh, I know you, I know your family, you're a Rhine. And my nana's a Rhine, so here's me out in the middle of nowhere and this lady blew me away and speaks their culture language. I was 18 years old and that's the day I realised that I don't have to be black to look black. And she blew me away, and it changed everything about who I was and what I was about. I'm an Aboriginal person and proud. Actually, I was a mechanic when I left school for about 6 months, and the guy sold a business, so I ended up on a plantation. So I started working as picking bananas and tomatoes and mangoes and that sort of stuff. And the lady on the plantation that looked after me, because I was only 17 years old, she said there's an Aboriginal apprenticeship going as a plumber, so I applied for it and I got it. Rio Tinto had an opportunity in Roban. I went down to an Aboriginal forum. They said, oh, Robbie Mallard's a licensed plumber, give him a go at one of the mines. And they said, all right then, we'll give him a go. There's about a 3-week project to do that. Ended up being 3 years and turned into a building company. In those days, I employed probably 2 people, 3 people max, and in today's world, I've probably employed up to about 160 people. And since I started, some of the projects have gone from a couple $100,000 to this project we're on now is about worth 10 mil. It's not about what sort of money I make, it's how many people's lives I change. We always lend money to our family members and all that sort of stuff, and we enjoy lending our money to our family members. So one person I employ will support 15 other Aboriginal people. That's what it's about. We look after people, you know. I did a lot of mine closures with the mining companies and had beds and TVs and fridges that were going to go to the tip, and I got approval to fill up 40 sea containers with 600 beds, 600 TVs, 600 fridges, all the light globes, and took them all to the communities and gave them to the communities. It was one of the happiest enjoyments of my life, yeah. So I've done the Aboriginal Culture Centre in Adelaide, which is one of the highlights of my life too. I do that with my other company, which is called Wiri Ngawa. We've been together for the last 5 years, and that's the company that I expand nationally. Wiri Ngawa in my language is called Black Duck, and that was given to one of my elders that gave me that name. And since this year, in the last 6 months, we spent $1 million in Aboriginal businesses. I brought 7 Aboriginal businesses together to work under our banner to do the Aboriginal Culture Centre, which is amazing. I treat my business game as a boxing bag. You're going to get punched. You just got to weather the blows. There's plenty of hardships. You put the hard work in and you get the rewards. I don't believe in competition. I'm proud to see every Aboriginal business out there achieving their goals. People don't realise in the last 20 years, look how far Aboriginal businesses have grown. It's amazing, you know. In the last 50 years is when we just got rights. We've come a long way, and I think we've got a few hurdles to go through yet, but I think we're going to get there, you know.
Yes, it's not about money, it's about changing lives. A big hand for Robbie Mallard. Congratulations to Robbie, and how about a round of applause for all of our Indigenous business finalists. It's just a hugging kind of night, isn't it? I love it. Love is in the air. It's now my great pleasure to welcome to the stage a phenomenal businessman and a phenomenal Australian. Please welcome Tony Zsa from Ethan. Tony, I've been reading incredible things about your business. You've just gone through a rebrand. You've been in the business for 20 years. During the pandemic, believe it or not, Ethan did not lose one single employee. And now you've got this new thing, More Than. What is that all about?
First of all, good evening, Tracy, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen. We're very excited about the rebrand and the phenomenal uptake and the following behind that over the last week. But something that we're even more excited about is what it stands for, which is the consolidation of 20 years of developing multiple businesses within the group that have all come together under one umbrella that we focused on over the last 3 years, bringing together. And that is more than IT, more than telecom, more than cloud. It's our talent business, it's the print business, the Indigenous business, and also a cybersecurity business. But one of the areas that I just touched on, which was the cybersecurity business, very proud that over the last 3 years when the world was in turmoil, many businesses and people weren't sure as to what happens next. Ethan invested in 100 cyber experts to protect the data that is so dear to businesses throughout Australia as the attacks go from $3 trillion globally in 1995 to 10 trillion by 2025. We felt it was our obligation in giving back, and we're very fortunate they're a technology company, so that's what we did.
Extremely smart decision as well. I want to talk a bit about Ethan Indigenous because did I read somewhere that you're giving 80,000 laptops to Indigenous communities?
Yeah, that's correct. Ethan Indigenous is a 5-year-old business that we formed in partnership with David Liddiard and the David Liddiard Group. It was dreamt up by our CEO, Paul Cortell and David, and the very warm hearts that they have and the dream that they put together in not only just giving back, but giving back leveraging the technology background and business that we are so that we can enable the Indigenous of tomorrow with hopefully a technology background, technology jobs, cadetships. So kudos to the Ethan Indigenous team. And on the topic of, thank you, I'd like to, it was 10 years ago when I thanked Joseph and Angela for allowing Ethan to be sponsors of this award. I'd like to take that same opportunity to thank them for allowing Ethan Indigenous to also sponsor this award, and also the entire awards, and hopefully 10 more years of great success. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your phenomenal work. Tony Zsa from Ethan. We now turn our attention to organisations and initiatives that spring from new Australians, and often their genesis suggests a kind of shared experience. These achievements too are the result of difficult journeys undertaken and problems overcome. These are the businesses of people born overseas who are now proud to call Australia home. The Ethnic Business Awards Foundation's small business category looks at migrant businesses that have been operating for at least 3 years and have an average annual turnover of under $10 million. The first of our 4 finalists in this category, originally from India and now based in Victoria, is Dr. Raj Kalan with the Western Specialist Centre. Operating from multiple locations, this is Australia's first centre to focus on women's and children's health, providing specialist medical and surgical health services in obstetrics, gynaecology, paediatrics, speech and occupational therapy, psychology and diet. Quite a comprehensive list right there. Let's hear from the good doctor.
My name is Dr. Raj Kalan and I'm a paediatrician. I'm a director of Western Specialist Centre. This is a medical specialist services, particularly for women and children. We own 2 of our centres and we provide services from 6 other centres. I've come from India, in Punjab, close to the Pakistan border. I practiced for a few years in New Delhi before moving to Saudi Arabia, and then to Nepal, and then to UK, and now thankfully, I'm in Australia for 18 years. And once we came here, we never looked back. We're so happy with the hospitality, with the love, affection, care, what we get from the community. Establishing here as a doctor, as a medical professional, is harder than any other profession. The legislation around getting the registration done in medical profession is the toughest, because when you train in a developing country like in India, there's all your qualifications are always looked at as a doubt. There is always some degree of discrimination you face at different level. You have to make a bold face in front of everyone and say, look, I'm not going to face that one, and I'm not going to stop over here because of the way you feel about me, about my color, my language, my accent. No university across the world in 18 years of rigorous training give even a 1 hour of lecture how to run your practice. That's how it is. So luckily I had that skill of early childhood, looked at the gap in the market, and that there is no medical center across Australia who is providing women's and children's specialist services under one roof. We had a long discussion, me and my wife, and that's why we sat together, why we are working in 2 different hospitals, in 2 different clinics, why can't we combine together? It was quite difficult financially, and being a migrant, it's always a challenge to get the finances sorted out. We borrowed some from our relatives, some from our friends. Some of the money we used from our superannuation. And that's how we started with a small medical center in St. Albans. We were around 16, and now within 8 years we are around 35 specialists working in our various centers, and we have around 15 administrative staff working for us. We have dream. This dream has never let me sleep. Giving back to community is my passion, my right, and this is the community has given me and taken me from zero to hero, and this is now my turn to give it back to the community. I founded Healthcare Awareness Society of Australia in 2018 with the concept of making our community aware of healthcare issues and given this information in a very culturally sensitive way by creating a public platforms, public forums, education sessions, call different specialists from all the specialities and talking about these issues. We've been writing article, me and my wife Preeti, writing article in different languages. When it comes to the community leader from their own community with the same language, chances of acceptance is high. We love this country. This is a country with a lot of opportunity for people, those who believe in working hard. And if you have the passion to your profession, you can reach to the people.
Well, that dream that wouldn't let him sleep has certainly grown into an incredible reality. Dr. Raj Kilan and Western Specialist Centre. I think you should continue the hugging competition. And now, from Vietnam, Harry Huang is the founder of Tailored Accounts, a one-stop shop for business intelligence services. Originally based in the ACT, his operation has expanded since 2008 from Canberra to Brisbane, Sydney and regional New South Wales, delivering top-quality accounting and tax advice. It's grown from humble origins to represent more than 500 business and not-for-profit clients. This is Harry Huang and Tailored Accounts.
My name is Harry Huang, and the business is called Tailored Accounts. We are a shared model of accountants and bookkeeper, just like Uber, right? You share your ride. This is a shared model for accounting. I came from a town called Ha Long Bay, which most people know when we talk about Vietnam. I came to Australia in July 2005. I was about 21. On the first days, I lost all my luggage. First time on aeroplanes, and my dad gave me a tennis racket, and that's all I have left. Come here, you look at all the fee that you have to pay, the living costs. So I was really stressed first time. After a week, I started working. Got my first job as a waiter because my English wasn't good. The chef got, cranky with me, that can't understand me, so he sent me back to the kitchen, do kitchen hand. In 2008, I started doing my accounting work. It was a part-time job for 3.5 days a week, and I found myself, I'd be lazy sitting at home for the rest of the time, so I started a business and keep myself busy. And then I put my first advertisements on Canberra Time for free. And I got a first call from a customer called KMA Painting, and they're still my customers. I started driving to customer places on the weekend, pick up the paperwork, do the work at night. Went a bit, overboard, work weekend long hours. And after about a year and a half, I set up an office in Deakin, a share office with one of my customers. And then I have my first staff, first interviews, and then we have more than 20 staff from all different countries. The business was in a profitable position from the day one. I never had to really borrow the money from the bank to run the business. The biggest year for us was between 2010 to about 2014, where we just doubled the turnover every year. We've got around 100 business customers, but then on the accounting side, over 100 customers. We don't serve the numbers, we focus more on the quality and quality customers as well. International students study accounting, love the numbers, difficult to find the first job, so we give them opportunities, and that's where we found Fuzukis and then later on other stuff. Throughout the work that we did with the charity, if we can give back through the non-profit organizations that we do work with. Right now, we're involved with a number of programs. I created a program called Accounting Change. We partnership with CPA Australia, a couple of universities. Each quarter, we do a seminar where we got hundreds of students come in, send them the message about the future, where the accounting is going into. Yeah, I just go around and teach people. I love Australia. I love Australia. Being a migrant, you just appreciate that the country gives you opportunity, but you got to work and grab that opportunity. When I first started the business, I was watching this award live on SBS. And I would just sit there and you cannot stop watching it. The story of migrants who build their families through hardships and build their business and become successful and recognized. And it's just a dream, that one day you want to be there.
A fan of the awards and now a finalist. Harry Huang has certainly worked hard and grabbed each and every opportunity. Let's show our appreciation to him and Tailored Accounts. Now, working in a really unique way in the childcare space, we have Kristen McPhail and Pachamama Early Education and Childcare. Originally from the United States, Kristen operates from the fringes of Perth, Western Australia. Pachamama offers early education and childcare steeped in nature, creativity and diversity to children aged from 6 weeks to 12 years old. It provides a home away from home to children, employing a diverse and committed staff, and it's focused on changing the paradigm of childcare across Australia and internationally. Let's take a look.
My name is Kristen McPhail and my company is Pachamama Early Education and Childcare. Pachamama provides early education childcare services to children ranging in age from 6 weeks to about 12 years old. I'm from the United States of America. A love of a man made me come here. That didn't last very long. The love of the country made me stay. I obviously don't have the deep language struggles that other immigrants do, but it is a struggle. I think that immigrants really do struggle. There's so much to learn, so many deep cultural nuances that are very challenging. I was a woman in business, and back in the 80s, 90s, there weren't many women in Australia in high-level management roles. I had a Bachelor of Economics degree that then transferred into working for fund managers. I got into early education and childcare because I was tired of being an employee. And my husband said, look on business broker sites to get an ideas of what might really intrigue me. And I kind of scrolled down, and all of a sudden it literally hit me. Childcare, it just spoke to me. So I found an old childcare center that was very run down in the Perth Hills and began developing it into what is now something quite incredible. It was so run down, and it was known as the place not to take your children. That's how bad it was. We focused initially on the environment. And when we were able to develop a better environment, we were able to attract better educators, and things basically snowballed from there. Pachamama is Bolivian. It's an ancient Incan goddess that can be comparable to Mother Nature, a very encompassing, loving, creative goddess. Pachamama is different from most other childcare centers in that it's very nature-based, number one. We're a home away from home, steeped in nature, creativity, and diversity. A lot of our educators are immigrants. We really focus on engaging immigrants with the children because it is such an important part of Australia. And we feel that exposing the children to diverse cultures is very important for their future. We're focused on teaching children how to prepare themselves socially, develop in their physical domains, emotional domains, so that the children go to school and they're ready, not with academic knowledge, but they're socially competent. By sheer coincidence, the property across the street came up for sale. Some would have described it as a demolition job, but we saw the potential in it and lovingly renovated it so that we could turn it into a center for school-age children, because our dream was for the school-age children to be able to have a center hub, a community hub. Financially, it's been a challenge. We first bought the company and it was approximately $300,000 income, and it's now grown to in excess of $4 million income. When we first bought the business, there were about 5 casual employees, and now we have grown to about 55. We have families who say they moved to the area for the purpose of attending Pachamama. It's heartwarming because it's a legacy that, I know I'm leaving, and to me that's very important. I absolutely love Australia. If you apply yourself, you can be successful, and I think it's a great place to do business. Australia's my home.
Gosh, what a beautiful centre and a worthy legacy. That was just a superb story. Please join me in celebrating the founder of Pachamama, Kristen McPhail. Ladies and gentlemen, our 4th finalist in tonight's Small Business Awards is from India. Founder and director of Kismet Mechanical, Sanjay Sethi expresses a belief that customers and staff are a company's only true assets, providing mechanical servicing, repairs and parts in New South Wales. His company's 8-year run as Best Sydney Mechanics is testament to the efficacy of applying that philosophy. Let's join Sanjay Sethi.
My name is Sanjay Sethi. The company's name is Kismet Mechanical. Kismet Mechanical caters for any kind of mechanical needs. I originally came from India, the capital city, Delhi. I came in Australia exactly today, 21st of September, 1989. I used to lead expeditions in the Himalayas as a tour guide. There came a time where I came to a certain level in the industry where I could say that, okay, I'm a big fish now in a big pond. But in reality, that was a big fish in a small pond. My majority of clients did come from Australia, and my exposure to the Australian mentality, Australian way of thinking was quite influenced because of the Australians. And I did want to come to Australia because I saw a lot of things about Australia, the adventures, outback and things. But as a first-generation migrant, reality check is different. The first job I got was with a lovely lady, Mrs. Liston from Franklin's. I was the first male checkout chick. And then I did taxi driving. And I did that for 16 years, and from there, rest is history. Before opening this company, the mechanical workshop, we used to run 280 taxis in Sydney. One day, we went through our maintenance records and we found nearby 750,000 shifts we had driven without a breakdown, suggesting, well, if we are that good, let's take that show to the town. Matter of month and a half, we had officially 6,800 Sydney cabs all signed up with us. Being open for 24/7, whether it's Christmas Day, Boxing Day, any kind of holiday, Kismet was open for them. And soon we realized that, okay, There is myriad of business which is open to us at 24 hours, like council workers, doctors and nurses. From there onwards, we never looked back. We currently have about 59,000 customers on our database, and they're all active. Once the COVID hit us, we were just standing here doing nothing. I called in the whole staff, the entire team, and I issued them a letter of guarantee from our director that all of the staff will be retained for full 3 years, full wage and full entitlements, even if the shutters go down. Government was the sheet anchor. They were the real backbone of our business. They were very generous. They understood the problems we were going through. This government did more than we deserved. I do see company to be growing vertically because when electric vehicles come, there will be a glitch in our business. But if you see every vehicle runs on tires, you need the tires. We are now going to invest in manufacturing of tires, and we'd like to put our own brand name on it. But they have to be backed with concrete research and analysis. The crew that you see here, they have been with me since the day one, and the company should go to them, not to my children, because they built it up. And anybody who will retire from here should be paid his retirement to the last day of his life. If we can achieve that, then in my own way, I've achieved a very successful company. Australia has given me more than I deserve. To me, it is my motherland now. I have no doubts about it.
Don't you love the name of the business? Kismet. It really was meant to be. Thank you and congratulations to Sanjay Sethi and Kismet Mechanical. Let's hear it once more for all 4 of our finalists in the small business category. It's now my great pleasure to welcome to the stage a very special guest. Would you please put your hands together for Mr. Ray LaHood, former US Secretary of Transport and Infrastructure, now with the Dar Group. Secretary LaHood, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Australia and welcome to the EBA family.
Thank you.
Now, Dar Group has a global presence, but I wonder if you could briefly explain to us how you came to be involved with sponsoring these awards here in Australia.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I met Joseph several years ago at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. This is my second opportunity to be at this very important recognition, and also my 5th time to be in Australia, which I think tonight we are celebrating Australia, the backbone of the economy, the people who have come here with the idea that they can do better from whence they came. And you all have been so welcoming, and the opportunity, the 33rd year that Joseph and this organization has recognized those who have come from a long way off. I know you forgot what the question was, but I wanted to say that because Joseph and Angela have been dear friends of mine for many years. And in America, we should take a page out of the book of what you're doing here, recognizing the importance of people who come here for a new opportunity. I served in Congress for 14 years in the U.S. House of Representatives, and then I had the privilege of serving President Obama as his Secretary of Transportation, and that was quite an extraordinary experience. When I left the Department of Transportation, I was approached by the Dar Group, which is an international construction company based in Dubai and Lebanon, and does work all over the world. And I want to introduce some people who came with me. Taimur Salam, who is here from Dar. Taimur, stand up. Howard Crossman, who is also from Dar. Joe Del Rosso is from Dar, and Greg McGowan. These are all people from Dar. Dar has come to Australia to begin an opportunity to really get into the construction business. I think they have built magnificent facilities all over the world, not the least of which is the stadium that was used for the opening ceremony of the International Soccer Games. They built the Dubai airport. And in our country, in America, they built the bridge that connects San Francisco to Oakland. And those of us that are here with Dar are here at Joseph's invitation to really establish a relationship. And we congratulate all those who are being recognized here tonight. When Dar came and met Joseph, they immediately wanted to become a sponsor of this recognition for so many significant people in your country. So I'm sorry to not sort of follow the script here, but I think it's important for you all here, and I know you know this is a recognition that Australia is one of the most welcoming countries in the world. And that comes from the United States. So thank you. I'm sorry I didn't follow the script here, but I'm sure you don't have any other questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Secretary LaHood, and thank you to your delegation for coming to Australia and for those kind, warm words about Australia. Speaking of construction, we really are building bridges through multicultural initiatives between Australia and the world. So thank you so much once again. And now we come to tonight's third and final group of finalists. The Henry IX medium to large business category is open to companies with an average annual turnover in excess of $10 million. The same evaluation criteria are applied by our judges, and once again, we have some amazing stories of vision, ingenuity and success. And so I present to you our medium to large business finalists, again in no particular order. We begin with Mr. Chetan Neil Salagrama. Hailing from India, Chetan is the founder and CEO of One Bill Holdings. Let's hear from Chetan Salagrama.
My name is Neil Salagrama, and I'm the founder CEO of a company called One Bill Holdings, which incorporates 4 major brands. The first is Compare and Connect. The second one is Your Porter. Third is Fast Connect, which is in New Zealand. And the last one is One Bill. We are a technology platform enabling comparison, connection, and consolidation of utility services across Australia and New Zealand. I came from India, so born and raised in India, and I came to Australia as a student in 2002. I was 21. It was definitely challenging, purely because I was the first one out of my family and my community to get out and come down to Australia. I had no friends, I had no family, no one to guide. So I was literally out there to explore everything on my own. My dad's entire saving was put to study here. So if I had gone backwards, then literally it would have bankrupted my dad because he guaranteed the loan. I struggled in the early days to find a decent job. So you had to do odd jobs to keep yourself fed. And then whatever money I could save, I could send back to India to support my parents as well. My dad passed away in 2006. I made a decision to move back to India, and we had some creditors to deal with. All of that had to be done and was quite emotionally draining. Looking after my mum, who was taken aback by all the stuff which had happened. So I worked in India during that time and repaid the debt to the creditors. And then I said, look, that's done now. Time for me to think about my family, potentially to come back to Australia. I came back and said, look, I want to start something on my own. The company started fundamentally as a sales business, offering telesales services back in 2010 and 11. And it evolved over the years to launch a first comparison platform in 2015 by partnering with Compare the Market, the Meerkat brand. And around the same time, I launched the first platform to offer choice in the mover space, which is Compare and Connect, helping people move home, connecting all the utilities through our platform. And 2 years ago, I launched a bill consolidation platform called OneBill, which is still very much in the infancy status at the moment. Well, when I started, it was my wife, my brother, and a friend of mine, and 3 other staff actually, so it was a very small business. Today we have over 175 staff. My revenue in first year was sub $150,000, and last year we closed over $33 million in revenue. Culture is a very important part of any business. The real assets are the people. This business is built by bringing the right people together. Because I came as a student, I had nothing. I had no support, I had no mentor. If I could just set up something where I can look after these people who come as no different to my own journey and guide them. So today we've helped people with sponsorship, we help people with mentoring, we help people with training because they are precious for our business to be a part of it. So that's just built an amazing culture in the business. For me, Australia has been an extraordinary place to come, understand, learn, and then build and contribute back to the country. I feel very, very proud to be an Australian.
A business built by bringing the right people together. Wise words there. Congratulations to Neil Salagrama and OneBill Holdings. And now, from the world of technology to its future users. From Taiwan, Mr. Mike Wu and Ms. Shan Kuo and their Avenues and Little Lane Early Learning Centres. Established in 2004, these Reggio and Montessori-inspired centres operate across 19 locations in Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney. Featuring high-quality creative arts, learning, Kodai music programs and an immersion-based Mandarin program, they're known for an enriched school readiness approach. This is their story.
My name is Mike Wu.
My name's Shan Kuo. The name of the company is Avenues and Little Lane Early Learning Centres. We provide early learning education and care to little children from 0 all the way through to pre-primary age. And we also provide before and after school care and vacation care.
We currently have 19 centres in operation, and there's 1 building right now in Glen Iris, and we have 10 currently on the drawing board, still in the design stage. I'm from Taipei, Taiwan.
I'm from
Hsinchu, Taiwan originally, both of us.
Both our parents came out from poverty in their own way and made their wealth and was able to bring us over to Australia through business migration. I think that was very special. It all started in 2003, and my parents-in-law suggested that maybe you can go into childcare. So for a few months, I was pregnant with our eldest child, trying to find a site that we can purchase and design and build into a childcare centre. And I did it for about almost half a year and I couldn't find a site. So he kind of said, well, let me try. He came back and within a month, he found a site. And we started building. And then we thought, oh my goodness, cash flow became an issue. And he came up with the brilliant idea, which I thought, no way, you know.
I said to her at the time, I think the only way to really get through this is that we buy into an operating childcare. So that's going to make us some cash flow.
I said, no way, like you're going to create another sort of 2 million debt. I said, should we fail, where will we go? There was a lot of pressure. I was running the front desk. I was teaching sometimes in the rooms. I cooked in the kitchen. I drove the children's bus to go and pick up schoolies to come back.
Yeah.
I did gardening on the weekends.
It sounds like I haven't done anything.
He did the accounts.
We did start making money when we had 2 centers. That was joy. When you see the money coming in, we're able to pay debts.
Yeah.
We're able to repay the bank. It feels good. Relief that we made the right decision. So we have currently over 800 staffs. We grow from a few million turnover now to over 70 million in the turnover.
And most centres were only built according to the government's building code. We took that next step to put in extra facilities, such as the music room, the dance room, the art room. Even a licensed kitchen is something relatively new. We've been able to bring in like soccer classes, football classes, tennis classes, ballet classes, and they were all done within our centres. Every single one of our centres work on different charity fundraising events. Probably the biggest one that we've really worked collaboratively with has been the Mater Hospital, converting a convent into a new hospital building for perinatal care. And that's something we feel very passionate about. I think education-wise, if it wasn't for what I received in Australia, I couldn't have done what we're doing today. You have a lot more choice. If you weren't academically driven, you have vocational education, you can still make your way up somewhere in life. Definitely, I think the best place in the world. I can't think of any other place better.
I think we'll agree.
Yeah,
we'll definitely agree.
Don't they look like fabulous childcare centres? Well done. Please join me in celebrating Mike Wu and Shan Kuo of Avenues and Little Lane Early Learning. Yes, congratulations to Mike Wu and Shan Kuo, and thank you for our first double hug of the night. Now, our third finalist is Charlie Shaheen, AO. Born in Lebanon as a Palestinian refugee, the managing director of Peregrine Corporation and his 2 brothers developed the business from their father's single service station. They now employ more than 6,000 staff in all states of Australia. In the promotion of inclusiveness and interfaith understanding, the Shaheen Charity Trust and Islamic Arabic Centre offer Arabic and Islamic teachings to all Australians at no charge. Let's hear from Mr. Shaheen.
My name is Khalil Shaheen, and the family business trades under Peregrine Corporation. So we are predominantly retailers. We have a number of retail offers, namely Smoke Mart, a significant number of Subway outlets, Hungry Jack's, Guzman & Gomez, Krispy Kreme, 250 gift stores across the nation, and almost 200 convenience stores, namely On The Run. On The Run stores are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our mission statement is that we will treat our customers as our guests, and we never close. I was born a Palestinian refugee in Beirut, Lebanon. My parents, as well as my grandparents, were born in Palestine. And in 1948, upon the creation of the State of Israel, they were forcibly removed from their villages. During that period, almost 1 million Palestinians were expelled, 350,000 marched across the Lebanese border. My grandparents and my parents were amongst those. By 1984, though, Lebanon, which is a wonderful country, had been ripped apart by 12 years of civil war, 2 further Israeli invasions, and I think at that point life had become too difficult. My parents said, let's pull stumps. In 1984, when we arrived, Australia was going through a difficult time. Unemployment was high and interest rates was high. Dad was 47 he would apply to jobs. And those days, it was okay to say, you're a top bloke, but you're too old, mate. So I started up by working, filling up cars for customers as I pulled them to the service station. Before the self-service concept was introduced, it's funny, we would later joke and say, lucky mate, no one gave you a job, because had someone given a job, I think life would have turned out quite differently for all of us. I get asked sometimes, what was the vision back in 1984? And the truth is that we had a very small service station. There was no canopy, so when it rained, we got wet serving customers, and you'd get home at the end of the night, which was at the back of the service station with my late father. I would sit down every night and think there has to be a better way and a easy way to earn $1. The drive was to how to survive without having to work this hard. We've had a great run, following on the footsteps of our late father, and together with two awesome brothers. Peregrine has now moved to become South Australia's largest private company and the 9th largest private company in Australia, where we operate in every state and territory today. We've championed an OTR Give program. OTR Give is an app-based charitable program whereby our customers get to choose what charity they'd like to donate to every time they make a purchase. We donate part of the profits. It does not cost the customer anything. Australia is a wonderful country. It is the best country in the world. It is a very tolerant society. I think migrants ultimately create the flavour of every nation. And I think the fact that Australia has been such a successful model of multiculturalism makes Australia such a unique and a special place in the world.
Eloquently put, and philanthropy across the counter, what a great idea. Congratulations to Charlie Shaheen and the Peregrine Corporation. And finally, friends, our 4th nominee in the Ethnic Business Awards Henry Nye Medium to Large Business category is SSS Strawberries. Now, you're going to hear what all of those S's stand for very shortly. It should perhaps be survival, strength and stubbornness. From Vietnam to an Indonesian refugee camp to fruit picking in Australia, and now to the biggest strawberry growing enterprise in the country. This company is diversified into property development to support its workers and is about to launch a high-tech food processing factory. Let's take a look at Queensland's SSS Strawberries.
My name is Gina Deng, and I'm from Triple S Strawberries. We are one of the largest strawberry growers in the country. Triple S stands for 7 Successful Siblings. We escaped Vietnam in 1990. The whole family went together. So there was 7 children, all aged under 11 years old. There was 83 people on the boat, a very little boat. Part of the memory at the boat trip was the time where we were able to see the land. A lot of the people wanted to go in, whereas my dad didn't want to go in because he said once we go in, the boat gonna flip. Mum and Dad was trying to take over the wheel and we all hugging each other. We were crying, and I had the image that we were, what we're gonna do when we're gonna go in. I see people stopping Dad and trying to get Dad out, but he's still trying to hold the wheel to get the boat out. Dad was successfully steered the boat out and we all able to get safely off the boat. When we first came to Australia, it's heaven. My parents got to work for the strawberry farm, but every time they come home they are not happy because they had bully, and the farmers love her but the co-workers doesn't like her, so there's always issue, but they learn how strawberry grow and all that, and 7 yease later they lease the land and we start growing strawberry on our own. When we were growing in Perth, we find that there's greater opportunity in the eastern state. So when we first moved to Queensland and start farming in Bundaberg, we struggled. Everything we put on the ground was no quality, no fruit. We lost all our money. We sold all our properties in Perth to put the money into a Bundaberg business, and we lost that as well. So $2.1 million in debt and zero income. All of us, brother and sister, we all have our education, we study hard, we don't want to be farmers. But Mum told us, if there is one chopstick, it's very easy to break, whereas a bundle is much harder. And that's the way that we have to keep our whole family together and work together. After about 3 seasons, we start to employ staff, and now I'm really proud that we have around 350 staff. So from in debt, zero income to now $20 million in revenue. We diversify into property development. We build our own workers' accommodation. We build it as single home units, that's at 30 units. The workers really love it, and that's where we're really proud. And now we are under construction for another 48 units. Our goal is to be able to provide a home away from home. We bought the tallest building in the Bundaberg CBD with the intention to turn that into short to medium term accommodation to help with the housing crisis. Our family had success today because of the generosity of the community. So we have developed the Triple S Foundation, and we are a big supporter within our local community. We are really blessed to able to come here and live and being able to be called Australian. Our family is always very grateful to this country, and we thank you not enough for what we have got today.
What a moving story and an extraordinary success. Congratulations to Gina Kam Yen Dang and the 7 very successful siblings. Now, unfortunately, Gina couldn't be with us tonight as it's her sister's wedding, but Bree Eleanor Watson is here to represent the family. Congratulations, Triple S Strawberries. Let's now show our appreciation for all of the nominees in the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business category and all of the finalists tonight. Well, it's been an absolutely spectacular evening of insights and stories, but now is the moment we've all been waiting for, especially our finalists, I'm quite sure. It's time for the announcement of the recipients of the 33rd Ethnic Business Awards. So let's go straight into the first category, Excellence in Indigenous Business. To make this first presentation, we have Joseph Asaf, along with the Honourable Tony Burke, who will present this wonderful trophy, and David Lydia from Ethan, who will present a cheque for $10,000 from Ethan Indigenous. Just marvellous. And now it is time, again, in no particular order. The nominees for the Excellence in Indigenous Business Award are Ether Group, Speaking in Colour, BlackRock Industries and Mallard Contracting. I honestly have no idea how our judges are able to separate all of these incredible finalists. They're all winners in their own right, but a decision has to be made. So, Minister, if you will.
Thanks so much, Tracy. The winner of the Excellence in Business category is Mallard Contracting.
Come on up, Robbie, a well-deserved winner. He's getting hugs at the back of the room there. And one of the things the judges absolutely loved about Robbie's story is the focus on improving the lives of as many Aboriginal people as he can through his business operations, establishing positive role models and creating future leaders in the community environment. And really, I cannot think of anything more important. Congratulations, Robbie Mallard and Mallard Construction.
This bloke here is a legend. I think most Australian people should know. I'm an Aboriginal person. But before I go ahead, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners in this area that a lot of people don't realise which the land we meet. But also, I'd like to acknowledge all you guys because you make Australia beautiful. It's all about making Australia beautiful, and you guys are beautiful. This suit is just sort of measured for me tonight. Actually, 3 weeks ago it was measured for me. Tonight it's a bit tight. I think I bought a crab last night and they're called MP, but they didn't tell me what the crab was worth. $250, man. Where I come from, we catch those every day, you know. It's amazing. So I'm going in the crab business. I'm going to be like the lady that did the sell it to you guys, you know. It's been a struggle where I come from. People doesn't realise where I come from. It's hard. My grandfather was a knowledge as which you guys probably don't realise, he's an Australian citizen twice. Once to fight in World War II and once to fight as a normal person as Australian. So it's brilliant to be with you guys. We're all Australians and we're all one. And if it takes a person like Joseph to stand up here and acknowledge everyone here, it's proud to know a guy like you, Joseph, and I acknowledge him so much because I think if we're all like Joseph, give a little bit, I think the place will be a better place. And we know that. Yeah. But I'd like to acknowledge all the guys that work for me. Like Mallard Contracting has been around for the last 11 years and they're on my journey with me. They don't work for me, they work with me. I'm not a boss, I'm a leader. I'm just a leader. My boss is over there, that lady over there, see that lady in green? That's her over there, and you know what? It's all about giving back, and that's me. I'll give back. If I can give a little bit to every one of you guys, that's what I'm about. And I think Joseph should be voted for politician, maybe. He should be a Prime Minister. He's good, man.
Robbie, that speech was so terrific. Everyone should be a little bit like Joseph and we should all work together. The boy from Carnarvon. Congratulations, Robbie Mallard, Mallard Contracting. And let's extend all of our sincere congratulations to all of this year's Excellence in Indigenous Business finalists. As I said, winners, each and every one of them. The next award is in the small business category. To qualify, businesses must have been in operation for more than 3 years and have an annual turnover under $10 million. To present the $10,000 cheque from Arab Bank Australia, let's welcome Joseph Rizk and also presenting the trophy, the Honourable Michael Sukkar. And now to recap the nominees in the small business category. They are Western Specialist Centre, Tailored Accounts, Pachamama Early Education and Childcare, and Kismet Mechanical. Again, all fantastic stories, all so hard to separate in making a decision. So, Michael, let's see what that decision is.
I'm very pleased to say the winner of the small business category is Pachamama Early Education Childcare.
Well, what a well-deserving winner. As you would remember, Pachamama provides a home away from home for children, employing a diverse and committed staff, a beautiful nature-focused program. And really, this company wants to change the entire paradigm of childcare internationally. It is an incredible company. I've actually known about it for quite a few years, and kids and families do move to that area to go to Pachamama. So congratulations to Kristen McPhail and Pachamama.
Love all around. Following Robbie's speech, I'm not quite sure what to say, actually. Thank you. I think that when I landed on the shores of Australia in Perth back in 1987, I had no idea that I would be here on this stage in front of so many esteemed people, so many successful people in their own right, with incredible stories, wonderful politicians who lead the country. It's incredible, and I want to thank you so very much for this great honor. We have an amazing team at Pachamama. The vast majority of us are actually immigrants, and I'd like to acknowledge them and all the hard work that they do every day to raise the future generation of Australians to be resilient and to be strong and to be successful. I'd like to actually, talking about standing up, could I have the two Andrews stand up, please? I'd like to acknowledge what you do. I have my business partner, Andrew White, on the right, who has worked 24/7 to help build Pachamama. Thank you very much. Without you, it wouldn't exist, and it further wouldn't exist without my husband, Andrew McPhail, who told me to go and search and do something and to find my passion. So Andrew, my husband, has been our business advisor, and he's been our gardener of recent years. So thank you both for your amazing contribution. I'd like to acknowledge our children, Michael and Ashley. Love you very much. I'd also like to thank my family, thank my father and Mary. Their continued interest in what I do has given me motivation. Thanks to the Ethnic Business Awards for these incredible events, the judges. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations to Kristen McPhail. And now I'd like you to put your hands together for a wonderful chap who's been supporting the Ethnic Business Awards for many, many years. From Arab Bank, please welcome Joseph Rizk.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight to welcome our international guests, Ray and the Dar Group. Welcome to Australia, and you've visited on a number of occasions. I've known Joseph for 55 years. I'm only 56 years of age. You know, for me as a banker, I've been here for quite a number of years, right? And at a very young age when we migrated to this country, and seeing the great success of migrants and the contribution that migrants have made, I still see and deal with clients who are from another part of the world, but they're Australian, and that's what makes it different. And I just want to say to Joseph and Angela and the whole team at the EBA and all the sponsors and supporters, this is the power that we need to keep this going for many, many years to come. Thank you very much. All the very best to you.
Well, thank you for your generous support of the awards for so many years. Well, we've come to that time in the evening when we present the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation's final category, the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business Award. Now, this celebrates the success of companies with an average turnover in excess of $10 million a year. It's named, of course, in honour of the late Henry K-Shing Nye OAM, a colossus of the business world and a committed philanthropist. a man who gave so much back to his communities both in Australia and overseas. Henry's family continues to maintain that legacy, and his grandson, Patrick Nye, is joining us on stage to congratulate the winner and present a cheque for $10,000 from ABC Tissues. To present the trophy, we're also joined by the Honourable Jason Clare. Before we present the award, a little bit more suspense. We're going to hear a few words from Jason Clare. Please put your hands together.
Thanks, Tracy. Well, it's a privilege to be joining everyone here tonight. Can I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to elders, past, present and emerging. When I got the job of Education Minister a couple of months ago, our 6-year-old said, "Dad, can you ring my teacher and tell her I'm not coming back?" Well, I haven't done that. He's a very lucky boy because he's growing up in the best country in the world. His grandparents weren't so lucky. They grew up in a war zone. They were refugees from Vietnam. They fled Vietnam in literally a hail of bullets, dodged pirates, lingered in refugee camps until they finally made it here. And they met on a blind date at Bondi Beach. They fell in love, got married, had children, beautiful, wise, patient, kind children, bought a home and created a small business. And that story's repeated itself hundreds of thousands of times throughout the last few decades. And you see it on display here tonight. And I sometimes think, how did they do it? But you know how they did it because you've done it. It's part of why we're the best country in the world. And it's why these awards are so important. And it's why, even though a 6-year-old lobbies the Education Minister not to have to go to school, I think in my heart of hearts, if he has half the courage and determination of his grandparents and the people in this room, then he's going to be okay.
Thank you, Jason Clare, for those beautiful words, and especially about your family. That was a lovely, lovely story to share. It's now time to announce the finalists for the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business category. To remind you of who they are, the finalists are One Bill Holdings, Avenues Little Lane Early Learning Centres, Peregrine Corporation, and Triple S Strawberries. All brilliant businesses, and again, impossible to tell what our judges have decided, except there's one person who knows. Jason Clare, welcome back, my friend.
And the winner is Peregrine Corporation.
Well, what an extraordinary and deserving winner. A phenomenal and huge corporation, Peregrine Corporation. And I love this story too, in the promotion of inclusiveness and interfaith understanding, that Shaheen Charity Trust and the Islamic Arabic Centre offering teachings to all Australians free of charge. Congratulations and thank you for your work.
Thank you. You know, when you get a letter that says you've been a finalist now, you're asked to prepare a small speech. And as I'm getting older, I'm trying to keep the sense of self-disappointment to a minimum, so I didn't prepare a speech. but I'd like to say a few words if I can. I think first and foremost, I think there are probably 3 or 4 peoples or individuals that are worthier than Peregrine and myself. I think the reason we've all done well, and we not just as finalists, but we as every individual in this room, if I may, is because the First Nation people have welcomed us and continue to welcome us on their land. It is now quite often that we acknowledge the land upon which we stand. I don't think we do often enough, we acknowledge that we continue to be welcomed on these lands. And I think it's a big difference between acknowledging our presence and acknowledging the fact that the reason we continue to do well is because we continue to be welcomed, and it's a privilege, not a right, that we are welcomed. I also would like to pay tribute to my late father, Fatih Shaheen, who nominated for this award 28 years ago, and this speaks volume. So 28 years ago, my late father, Gorasol, was sitting here, together with my beautiful mother, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. But this is how an amazing job the EBA has done, and together the Assaf family has done. It's an amazing credit. And last but not least, I ought to acknowledge, of course, my beautiful wife, Khulud, who, I should say it as well. You know, when we got married, there was no FPOS when we got married, so 34 odd years ago. And you know, there was manual credit cards, so there was a lot of coins in Australia. And we'd sit down on the bed and count the takings at night. There wasn't a lot of takings, but it took a lot of time to count the coins. And you know, if you think a young married couple would probably waste a lot of time counting coins on those. But anyway, that was a deal, and she never complained. So I should acknowledge the effort that has gone, and of course, to all of my children, 4 of whom are here tonight, to Yasmin, Aya, Amira, and Taj. You know, you are my backbone. You're the reason I get out of bed every day, and I love you dearly. Thank you all for being here.
Please put your hands together for Charlie Shaheen and Peregrine Corporation. It really has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Please join me in congratulating all the nominees across all of the categories. They inspire us. They make us proud. They're an incredible asset to this country, and I know it gives Joseph Assaf and the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation an enormous pleasure to bring you their stories each and every year, to allow everyone to walk in someone else's shoes and share their amazing stories. Please join me in thanking again Mr. Joseph Assaf. And thank you once again to our amazing sponsors, Joseph Assaf and his team at the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation, Dar Group, Ethan, ABC Tissue Products, Arab Bank, Living Gems, Lifestyle Resorts, Divest Healthcare, International Livestock Export, Alspec, Boca, Carla Zampatti, Nexiga Australia, and Bruce Clay Australia. And a big thanks too to the gorgeous Four Seasons Hotel for its unmatched hospitality. These stories are being televised, streamed and reported across Australia and the world by our broadcast and media partners. SBS, the Australian multicultural and multilingual broadcaster, it's actually been covering these awards since 1988. The national, round of applause for that, it's phenomenal. And of course, we're so fortunate in Australia to have the National Indigenous Television Network as well. Love NITV. The fabulous Aurora Community Channel, the Australian newspaper, Google, Chujiong, the Sunrise Daily newspaper, El Telegraph, 1688 Chinese Media Group, Neos Cosmos, Top Media Group, and Media Today Group. Everyone, please join me in offering a big thank you to all of our media partners. To all of you and to everyone watching, from the beautiful Four Seasons Hotel in Sydney and the 33rd Ethnic Business Awards, thank you. And from Joseph Assaf and his team at the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation, we are so grateful to have you with us tonight. Take care, please stay safe, and bye for now.
Thanks for watching the Ethnic Business Awards. Please join us again next year